in my favorite place to study, the African American Museum and Library of Oakland. It's just a fun place to do research, and it's very underutilized, which makes me really sad, actually. But today is the State of the Union, and I love that I am spending my time and my energy doing this work around Black women labor. I definitely know that the anchors are going to be the Revolutionary Era and modern day America. I think that it's really important to tell that story of America 250 from our eyes, because it's different from the America 250 that the current administration wants us to push. And I love the resistance that I've seen from educators and artists alike who are not letting federal funding or threats really change the way that they're doing art, and they're really doubling down on this commitment to inclusive, diverse voices in art creation and art making, as well as in history telling. And that is a beautiful thing to see. So continue to resist, America, to continue to resist. So, my research is pretty broad. And I'm looking at slave narratives, oral histories, legislation, Department of Labor statistics, all that good stuff. And I'm reading books. And this week, I've been really focused on Jacqueline Jones's Labor of Love, Labor of Sorrow. This book has been instrumental in how I'm thinking about this project. One of the things that has really stood out to me is how Jacqueline Jones talks about Black women as culture bearers within society. They were essential in maintaining family and community, even while being completely dehumanized. And I think so many Black women, Black mothers feel that to this day. This resonates with me deeply, and it also connects to something that I read in an anthology, and it's an Angeles Davis essay called Reflections on the Black Woman's Role in the Community of Slaves. She critiques the idea of the Black matriarch because that implies power, and Black women in slavery had no power. And when we ascribe this title to Black women as a Black matriarch, especially within the context of American slavery, it's what she calls a cruel misnomer, because we are saying that these women had power where they had none. And in fact, they were subject to a tremendous amount of trauma. Now, that doesn't mean that they did not have, or that they didn't have power within their communities. And it doesn't mean that they did not resist, or they were not culture bearers, that they were not important within the context of their community. Black women were very important within the context of their community, but they did not hold the power that we often give to them, not in the way that we give it to them. And it's in fact that the contradictory nature of that assignment that allows us to look at Black women and give them the superwoman schema. I've also started reading Christina Accomando, and she has a book called The Regulations of Robbers: Legal Fictions of Slavery and Resistance, and it's kind of amazing because she takes a look at the framing of American slavery in law. And I think one of the ugly truths about American slavery is that it was sustained through our federal and state laws. So legislation is embedded, right? American law is embedded with inherent racism and discrimination. But we want to say that justice is blind. And so it's been a really kind of eye-opening book. And she takes a look at the lives of Phyllis Wheatley, Sojourner Truth, and Harriet Jacobs, and how they used the law as an act of resistance. And so I'm really, really excited about that particular work and what it's doing for my understanding for the context of labor pains. Originally, when I set out to do this, I was thinking that the script was going to cover all of American history because it's really this commemoration, this honoring of America 250. next year in 1776 to 2026. And as I've been conducting this research and as I've been doing this reading, I realized that I really want to focus on the Revolutionary era and the Civil Rights era and contemporary America. Like, those are really my pillars, my touchstones for the script and for this narrative literature review. I think mainly because those are the times in which our national identity intersected with our economic understanding of self. And that is really where we see the shaping of Black womanhood as an identity, as well as America as an identity, and how capitalism is this thread between them, this very insidious, malicious thread between them. All of this research is feeding into the workshops that I'm planning, where we'll be using body maps. And if you're not familiar, a body map is a life-size outline of your body. And in the workshops, we'll have Black women telling their stories, either in 1 minute, 3 minutes, or 5 minutes, about their experiences with economic trauma. Then in pairs, they'll trace each other's bodies and mark points where those experiences have impacted them emotionally and physically. And we'll also write down words or phrases that capture the essence of these stories. The goal is to create a space for healing and processing, and also to collect these body maps for my performance art installation. I'll be doing workshops and performances in Albany, Oakland, St. Louis, and New Orleans, and the script for each performance will be tailored to the specific economic circumstances of that city. And I'm hoping that I'll be able to work with local theater groups in each of those cities to make this in an ensemble interactive experience. Also, to make it an interactive experience that very tangibly feeds into the Black cultural community of that particular area. It is so important to understand this history because it is so very clearly impacting us today, right now, as I speak. Something that Angela Davis wrote in the essay that I spoke about: it will be submitted that by virtue of the brutal force of circumstances, the Black woman was assigned the mission of promoting the consciousness and practice of resistance. Again, the Black woman was assigned the mission of promoting the consciousness and practice of resistance. Black women truly have been at the center of resistance in this country, and we see that every day with Representative Jasmine Crockett being the most vocal voice out there from the beginning about what has been going on. It is quite literally embedded within us to resist these systems in which we have to inhabit that have been forced upon us. The exploitation of Black women's labor is woven into the fabric of American capitalism. And as we approach the America 250 celebrations, we need to be honest about that history. We need to acknowledge the pain and trauma that has been inflicted, and we need to work towards healing.